wild time.
We need some stuff for this one that you didn't talk about on Joe Rogan.
Okay.
Because I think probably everyone here has seen either the Rogan episode or the clip, which I think has like 6 or 7 million hits.
Oh, with the like little jungle bam bam.
Jungle powder.
Yeah, I know where you're
Rio
going.
Apaporis caiman.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So to summarize, we had to go look for the Rio Apaporis caiman, a missing species of crocodilian, hadn't been seen in 30-something years. Went into like FARC-controlled rebel territory. You know what we should talk about on this one? How the network wouldn't let us do it, basically.
Oh, right.
That's kind of interesting story that people don't know about. And then we just sort of did it anyway.
Yeah.
Pretty good pick of you here on that one. What do you?
It's not.
Is that one of the stills though that you guys sent to Discovery? They actually used
Yes,
it.
they did use that one. Not that one. Don't click that one. That's a different thing.
Okay. I mean that's just
That's a different animal. I mean, anyway.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So yes. All good stuff. What are we talking about? Yeah. So going into the Rio Apaporis caiman stuff.
Yeah, they didn't want us to do it.
They didn't want us to go. Yeah, I was trying to think how to explain all this.
Well, you had said season 1 you wanted to do this episode.
Correct.
And so we weren't allowed to do it. No one, nobody would insure this particular shoot.
Too dangerous, or all these rebels, or it's an active war zone, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Lots of reasons not to do it. Most specifically, the human danger
Correct.
of it. Hard to get to, obviously, military plane landing in a field.
Right.
Whatever. But the human danger, the last group of Westerners who had gone in had been kidnapped, held for ransom. So hard no for season 1. And then you just kind of kept pushing it for season 2. And then Eric Evangelista, who ultimately the buck stops with him because he's the one who really controls the money. And,
Right.
If someone died, he would be the first one sued.
Yeah.
Right.
Was like, just fucking go and just send a smaller team.
Don't die.
Yeah.
Right.
He was like, take less guys.
More
Yep.
security, less
Yep.
film
Yep.
crew.
Yep.
No security.
No security.
No?
No, just a medic.
Just a medic, yeah. We did not pass the risk assessment, but we did go anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. So we went down there, flew in a DC-3, an old World War II cargo plane, to a strip in the middle of the jungle, to a tiny village where they had never seen like Westerners before, had to get blessed by this shaman and this moloko, which is like a spiritual hut, had some green powder shoved up my nose, made me puke everywhere. That's the story on Rogan that people love.
So good.
And then went into the jungle and ultimately found this caiman. So I'm trying to think of some good moments that we didn't talk about. So one, oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
One, never made the show, but it was kind of cool, is while we were out there, we went up this small tributary. Okay, so there's the main river, and there's all these creeks that flow into it, basically. And we went up one of these creeks, and we went as far as the canoes could go. And when I say as far as they can go, I mean we lifted the canoes out over dead trees and put them back in. We sunk them and put them under low-hanging, like huge trees, like everything you can imagine, and just got to the end.
Jeez.
And it was cool, and we got to the end, right? And we get to the end, and it's not like you hit the end of a creek and there's nothing, right? Then there's just like this muddy bank and so on. And we're like, let's follow it. So we followed it into the jungle, and we got to like a watering hole further up that was disconnected from the river. And around that watering hole, there was just hundreds of tapir tracks. And I've never seen a wild tapir. And I'm like, oh, this is cool. Like, let's do this.
Yeah.
I'd love to do this. And I was like, I know it's not really part of the show, but, tapir could be on the menu for the Rio Apaporis caiman. I was like, there's a way to tie it in, and I really want to see one.
You want to see a tapir?
Yeah, let's.
How did you know it was tapir tracks?
They have pretty unique feet.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's the only thing in South
them
America.
as having these very kind of dainty little
They do.
hooves.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they do. Very weird little.
Yeah.
Okay,
Look
so
at
it's
his
a very
posture.
unique. It's a very unique paw print, I suppose, or not paw, but
Yeah, well, you're
print.
looking at a Malayan tapir there, at least some of them. But,
A little different.
Yeah, they're different, but still, same foot, same everything, super weird animal. And I was like, this is great. Like I've always wanted to see a tapir, like my whole life. This is so exciting. Let's stake it out. So we got there at 4:00 in the afternoon, something like that, because it took us all day to get there. And then I was like, let's wait, like sunset's coming. And keep in mind, this is on the equator, so sun rises and sets at like 6 p.m. every day.
Right.
So we buckle down, we get super quiet, and we just sit and wait, and we wait, and we wait. And we wait until it's pitch black, to the point that even if a tapir showed up, you couldn't do anything about it.
Okay.
Right? And set up a bunch of trail cameras. And then as we were getting up to bail out, we heard the tapir. So they had just come down, and we didn't get to see him because it was too dark. And then, we ended up leaving there at like 8 p.m. at night, and it took us until about 3 or 4 in the morning just to get back to camp because it took us all day to get up there.
Oh, and did you have to do the same thing going back?
Back out. Yeah, back out. And now you're doing it in the dark.
You did. I didn't quite understand what you did because I was not there for this one.
Yeah.
What do you mean you sank the canoe?
So in this part of the Amazon, in all of the Amazon, really, you take these. So we took motorized canoes up the river to like the base camp, right? And we pulled with us little row canoes, like small 2-person wooden dugout canoes, like tiny, very unstable little wooden canoes that the locals make,
Right.
And the reason they have about this much freeboard, right? Meaning from the water line to where the overage is, and that's just how they're built. They just have tiny freeboard. So you have these canoes. They're like 22 feet long. Okay,
oh, shit.
20 feet long,
and it's
whatever.
Only for 2 people?
It's for 2 people because they're long, skinny canoes.
Okay.
Cut from a single thing of wood. And you row up these tributaries. So the main river's, 5 times wider than the studio. Okay? Then there are these offshoots, some as wide as this studio, some as wide as this table.
Okay.
And, you're like, there could be a caiman up there, could be an anaconda up there, could be a tapir up there. Let's go check it out.
Right.
So we decided to go up one of them that was started out about the width of this room and got down to about the width of this table and so on and so forth. But as you go up them in the Amazon jungle, from erosion and stuff, there are trees falling down all the time. So it's like you're going up a river and all of a sudden there's a tree. And I'm not talking about like a little California tree. I'm talking about a tree that
redwood.
Yeah, I mean, 30 people couldn't touch hands around if you tried to hug it. So it's like, it's like 12 feet tall on its side.
Yeah.
And so we'd get to these trees. The small ones we'd hack up with a machete and you keep going. But you get to these ones that, you couldn't do anything with it even if you had a chainsaw, which we didn't. Gotcha. So in order to keep going, you have 2 options. If it's short enough but too thick to cut, you can lift the canoe over. Sure. And like you get out of the canoe, you get on the thing, you pull it up, it's super heavy, you drop it in the other side and you jump in and keep going.
Right.
But if it's not, if it's like the one I just described that's as big as this room, you have to sink the canoe under it and pop up the other side. So there's me and Mitch, and I'm basically popping Mitch off because he's like, I got a camera, I'm not doing this. And I'm putting him on the bank, and then I'm taking the canoe, flooding it so that it sinks, holding my breath.
How deep do you have to then go down with the canoe?
Just whatever gets you under the tree. So usually it's only like a foot or 2 feet or whatever. Okay. But you're in the Amazon filled with caiman and anacondas and piranha.
Boat gets super heavy. Fill it with water, then you got to get it out.
And you can barely push it through. So Mitch goes around or over or whatever and gets ready, and I hold my breath. You can't see anything because
I don't even think any shots of that made it in the cut.
None of it, not one.
None of that made it. If I had known that existed, I would have for sure I would have been like, you've got to put that in.
Oh yeah, no, and that's why I was looking. I was looking for something that nobody knew about. So this was what we did. So we sunk these canoes and lifted them and kept trekking up the river where people couldn't go.
Here's the executive producer's take on that. When you don't have a producer in the field,
you don't know.
And you say, hey, Forrest, did you do notes? He goes, dude, I was in the fucking Amazon. We found the caiman.
Yeah.
Like, that's something that would have been super cool to see. It's
true.
Maybe we can get the footage, because I just want to see that process.
We can get that footage.
Oh, get the footage.
It sounds awful to me. I don't
it sounds
want
awful to anybody.
Flood a giant wood canoe,
dive
under a tree, with heavy wood boat.
Pop
where there are piranhas.
And you don't know if there's more trees, stuff to get snagged on, so you have to kind of work it through while you're holding your breath. Zero visibility. You're just kind of in the dark.
Isn't this where anacondas live too?
Oh yeah, that's where we caught a big anaconda. But big you were looking for something that wasn't in Rogan or any of the other places in the show.
Yeah, no, that's pretty cool.
This was a pretty fun little
maybe
adventure.
We'll get some
Wild times.
So if you want more behind the scenes stuff that we cannot show on YouTube, Darwin Awards, video breakdowns and reviews, check out the Patreon. It's full of hours and hours of incredible exclusive content, stuff that you guys are gonna love. Swipe up, click the link, do the thing, come and hang out on Patreon. See you guys there.